Take a moment and look around. Every object within arm's reach has a backstory, a series of decisions, discoveries, and dark secrets that brought it into your life. Let's start with the humble toothbrush. You use it twice a day, every day, without a second thought. But did you know that the first toothbrushes were made from animal bones and hog bristles? That's right. Before synthetic materials, your morning routine involved scrubbing your teeth with a handful of pig hairs. Imagine that texture running across your gums. And that wasn't the worst of it. Those bristles were rarely sanitized, harboring bacteria and even disease. The modern toothbrush. It might seem cleaner, but it's not as sanitary as you think. Studies have found that toothbrushes can harbor E. coli, staphylococcus, and other bacteria within hours of use. Now, think about that every time you rinse and repeat. But that's just the start. Your plastic comb. Before mass production, people used fish bones or tortoise shells. Picture the meticulous process of carving a comb from a delicate tortoise shell, a luxury only the wealthy could afford. And the price, the tortoise. A single comb might cost a creature its life. Today's combs are cheaper, made from petroleum-based plastic, but their impact remains high. Those plastic fragments eventually break down into microplastics, entering oceans, entering fish, and eventually entering you. Yes, every time you run a comb through your hair, you're holding a piece of a vast, interconnected chain of consequences. And that's just your morning routine. Let's move deeper. Now, let's talk about your kitchen. Open a drawer and you'll find a knife. Sleek, stainless steel. But before modern manufacturing, knives were brutal tools forged from bone, stone, and iron. Picture a knife carved from a human femur. It sounds like a horror movie, but in ancient civilizations, bones were repurposed into tools, weapons, and even cutlery. And the metals we use today, extracted under grueling conditions. Modern steel production relies on iron ore, a resource linked to child labor and dangerous mining practices. That shining blade in your hand has a dark history of blood, sweat, and exploitation. And what about the pots and pans in your kitchen? Non-stick cookware revolutionized cooking, but the Teflon-coated surfaces that make frying so easy were initially developed as part of wartime experiments with chemicals. Perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA, once used in Teflon production, was later linked to cancer, thyroid disease, and developmental issues. Companies phased it out, but it remains in the environment, persisting for decades. That perfect, unburnt omelet. It comes with an invisible cost. Now, take a deep breath. Ready for the next revelation? Let's go. Step outside and take a look at your shoes. Comfortable, right? But those soles you walk on every day have a disturbing backstory. The rubber industry has roots steeped in brutality. During the rubber boom of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, vast areas of the Congo were stripped of rubber trees, and local populations were enslaved, tortured, and even killed to meet global demand. The blood-soaked history of rubber remains largely forgotten, but the exploitation didn't end there. Modern rubber production is a major polluter, releasing toxic chemicals and contributing to deforestation. And those synthetic soles, made from petroleum derivatives, they can take up to 1,000 years to decompose. Every step you take leaves behind a footprint far darker than you realize. Now, let's move to the fabric of your clothes. Cotton is the world's most widely used natural fiber, but it's also one of the thirstiest crops. A single T-shirt requires over 700 liters of water to produce, the equivalent of 3 years' worth of drinking water for one person. And that's not all. Cotton farming uses more pesticides and insecticides than any other crop, poisoning soil, water, and the very workers who cultivate it. Even worse, the fast fashion industry thrives on synthetic fabrics like polyester, a plastic-based material that sheds microfibers with every wash. These microplastics infiltrate rivers, oceans, and eventually, our food chain. So the next time you slip into that soft cotton tee or trendy polyester jacket, remember the invisible cost stitched into every seam. Take a look at your electronics. The phone you can't put down, the laptop that connects you to the world. But have you ever wondered where those precious metals inside them come from? Gold, tin, tungsten, and tantalum, the four conflict minerals. These elements are mined in regions plagued by armed conflict, where child labor and violence are rampant. Miners work under deadly conditions, extracting metals that power your devices. And then there's e-waste, the byproduct of our insatiable desire for the latest tech. Each year, millions of tons of electronic waste pile up, leaching toxic chemicals into the soil and water. That old smartphone in your drawer, it's not just outdated, it's a ticking environmental time bomb. And then there's the packaging. Every time you unwrap a shiny new gadget, you're surrounded by layers of plastic, foam, and cardboard. It's designed to protect the product, but at what cost? Those materials don't just vanish when you toss them out. Plastic packaging can take centuries to decompose, and the production process releases greenhouse gases that fuel climate change. So the next time you upgrade to the latest model, remember the price tag doesn't reflect the real cost. Now, step into your bathroom and take a look at the cosmetics and toiletries lined up on your sink. Shampoo, lotion, makeup. The products that promise to make you look and feel better often hide some shocking truths. Many beauty products contain palm oil, a common ingredient linked to deforestation in Indonesia and Malaysia. Vast stretches of rainforest have been cleared to make way for palm plantations, endangering species like orangutans and tigers. And then there's microbeads, the tiny plastic particles once found in exfoliating scrubs and toothpaste. Though banned in many countries, they still linger in some products, polluting waterways and harming marine life. And what about that plastic bottle? Less than 10% of plastic waste is actually recycled. The rest, it ends up in landfills or the ocean, breaking down into microplastics that infiltrate the food chain. Think about that the next time you lather, rinse, and repeat. Every squeeze, every drop, every rinse off. It all leaves a mark. One that's harder to wash away than you think.